Dear audience, greetings to one and all. Today I am going to present before you Shrimad Bhagwat Mahapuran, Book 3, Discourse 1, in which meeting of Uddhava and Vidur has been described. Sri Shuk said, it was this very question that Vidur asked the worshipful sage Maitreyi in the past, when the farmer had retired to the forest, quitting his prosperous home. It was at Vidur's residence that Lord Sri Krishna, the ruler of the universe, who happened to visit Hastinapur as an ambassador of your forefathers, the Pandavas, called as if it were his own house, refusing the hospitality of the Paurav king Duryodhana. The king said, where did Vidur's meeting with the worshipful Maitreyi take place, and when did he have a talk with him? Kindly tell me all this, my lord. Surely the question which the pure-hearted Vidur asked of the noblest sage Maitreyi could not have been of small consequence, particularly when it was honored with a reply by a saint of no mean order. Sut continued, questioned as above by King Parikshit and much delighted at heart. Over this, the all-wise Suk, the foremost of sages, said in reply, listen. Sri Shukdev proceeded, you know how King Dhritarashtra, who was not only blind but had also lost his right judgment and supported his wicked sons through unrighteousness in their unrighteous ways, had his younger brothers, fatherless sons, Yudhishthira and others, lodged in a house of black and the same set on fire. Nay, when in open court his second son, Dushasan, dragged by the hair Dhritarashtra's own daughter-in-law and the spouse of King Yudhishthir, Queen Draupadi, whose tears washed off the saffron painted on her bosom, she being covered by a single cloth. The king failed to stop that abominable act of his son. The guileless King Yudhishthir, who was devoted to truth and regarded none as his enemy, was worsted in a gambling bout by unfair means and sent in exile to the forest by a period of 13 years. But when on expiry of the term of exile he returned from the forest and asked back his parental share according to the terms of the agreement, Duryodhan refused to part with it, blinded as he was by infatuation. When Sri Krishna, the preceptor of the universe, was sent by Yudhishthir to the Kaurav court, he spoke their words which were full of nectar to his devotees, Bhishma and others. But the king Duryodhan attached no importance to them, since all his stock of merit had been exhausted. Again, when invited by his elder brother Dhritarashtra, Vidur entered the latter's private chamber and was asked to give his advice. That crest jewel of wise counselors gave a piece of advice which politicians still speak of with reverence as Vidur Niti, the counsel of Vidur. Vidur said, return the share of Yudhishthir, who regards none as his enemy and who has been tolerating the wrongs done by you, even though they are hard to bear. He is followed by him whom you are terribly afraid of, and who with his younger brothers Arjun and others is hissing in fury as a serpent. The cause of the Pandavas, the sons of Pritha, has been espoused by Lord Sri Krishna, the bestower of liberation, himself who is adored as a deity by Yadav chiefs, who is staying at present in his own capital Dwarka, having conquered big sovereigns and who has all the Brahmanas and gods on his side. It is evil incarnate that has entered your house in the person of Duryodhan, whom you are fostering as a son and who is an enemy of the Supreme Person, Sri Krishna. That is why you too have turned your face against Sri Krishna and lost your splendor. Therefore, in the interest of your race, abandon this unlucky fellow at once. Vidur had a disposition which was coveted even by saints. But when he uttered these words on that spot, the anger of Duryodhan and his companions, Karna, Dushasan, Duryodhan's younger brother, and Shakuni, son of Shubala and Duryodhana's material uncle, knew no bounds. Their lips began to quiver, and Duryodhan insultingly interposed. Who has called this crooked son of a maidservant here? Hostilely disposed towards the master myself, on whose crumbs he has grown fat. He works for the enemy's cause, although his life may be spared. He should be banished from my capital at once. Cut to the quick by these most poignant words, which pierced his ears like shafts in the presence of his brother King Dhritarashtra, but recognizing the greatness of the Lord's Maya deluding potency, Vidur did not feel the least perturbed in mind and quietly left the palace himself, depositing his bow to the gate. Vidur, whose birth in the race of Kurus had been secured as a result of great merit, who was an acquisition to the race of Kuru, departed from Hastinapur and, with a view of acquiring religious merit, undertook a pilgrimage to all holy places on the earth's surface, sacred to the Lord, whose feet are ever hallowed, and where the Lord resides in 1,001 forms images. Unaccompanied by anyone else, he visited on foot cities, sacred groves, mountains, bowers, rivers, and lakes containing limpid water and holy places graced with the Lord's images. He perambulated the earth in the garb of a recluse so that he could not be recognized by his own people, lived on pure food such as fruits, etc., dropped from trees, bathed in all sacred waters without exception, slept on the ground, never made his toilet, cared for his looks, and observed vows that pleased Sri Hari. While he was yet travelling in the land of Bharatvarsh and reached Prabhas near Dwarka, King Yudhishthir, son of Pritha, had established himself with the help of Sri Krishna as the universal and undisputed sovereign of the entire globe. There at Prabhas he heard how his kinsmen, the Kauravas, had perished due to mutual jealousy, even as a thicket of bamboos is consumed by fire produced by the friction of one bamboo against another. Grieving over the Holocaust, therefore, he quietly repaired to the bank of the Saraswati, where it flows in a westerly direction. On the bank of that river, he visited and stayed at 11 different spots severally, sacred to the memory of the sages Trita Ushana, the father of Shukracharya, and Asit Swayambhu Manu, King Prithu, the god of fire, the wind god, King Sudasha, the cows, Guha, god Kartikeya, the eldest son of Lord Shiva, and King Sardhadev, Bashwat Manu, and many other sanctuaries in this area consecrated to Lord Vishnu, founded by holy sages and gods, and containing temples that bore on their domes the mark of Sudarshan, the chief of his weapons, the very sight of which reminded one of Lord Sri Krishna. Journeying thence through the prosperous land of Saurashtra and the kingdoms of Shauvir, Matsya and Kuru jungle, he reached in due course the bank of the Yamuna, where he came across Uddhava, another great devotee of the Lord. Vidur fondly clasped in those close embrace, this celebrated servant of Lord Sri Krishna, son of Vasudeva, who had attained perfect serenity of mind and was an erstwhile pupil of the sage Brihaspati, the preceptor of the gods, and inquired of him the welfare of his relations, the Yadavas, the proteges of the Lord. The two primal persons, Sri Balaram and Sri Krishna, appeared in human semblance on this globe in response to the prayer of Brahma, who was born of the very lotus that had sprung from the Lord's own navel. Having relieved the earth of its burden and brought delight to the whole world, are they doing well in the house of Sursen, the father of Vasudeva? Dear Uddhava, is our brother-in-law, sister's husband, Vasudeva, son of Sursen, quite happy? Vasudeva, who is the greatest friend and well-wisher of the Kurus, and who, like a father, liberally bestows on his sisters Kunti and others the gifts of their choice, bringing satisfaction by offering rich presents even to their husbands. Again, dear friend, is that heroic Pradyumna, the generalissimo of the Yadav forces. Quite well, Pradyumna, who was no other than the god of love in his previous incarnation, and whom his mother Rukmini secured from the Lord by propitiating the Brahmanas, is Ugrasen, the ruler of Sattvataj, Vrishnis, Bhojaj, and Dasarath, prospering. Ugrasen, whom the lotus-eyed Lord Sri Krishna installed on the throne of Mathura, even though he had stood aloof, having lost all hope of regaining the throne, is Sri Hari's, Sri Krishna's son, Sambh, who is the equal of his father and the foremost of Kar warriors, faring well? O gentle Uddhava, Sambh, who is no other than the god Guha, whom goddess Ambika Parvati bore in her womb in the past, and to whom Jambavati, the daughter of Jambavan and one of the 8 principal consorts of Lord Sri Krishna, gave birth once again as a fruit of her religious observances, is that Yuyudhan Satyaki quite happy, who received the secrets of bowmanship from Phalgun Arjun, and who easily secured through the mere service of Lord Sri Krishna the position of his devotee, which is difficult of attainment even for ascetics, is the wise and sinless Akrur son of Sophalak, quite healthy, Akrur, who is devoted to the Lord and who, beside himself with love, rolled about in the dust of the road marked with the footprints of Lord Sri Krishna. Is all well with Devaki, daughter of Devak, the chief of the Bhoj clan of Kshatri, who is as good a mother of Lord Vishnu as Aditi, the mother of the gods, and who bore the Lord in her womb, even as the three Vedas bear the extensive ritual, the elaborate details, and procedure of the various sacrifices as their import. Is the divine Aniruddha, the grandson of Lord Sri Krishna, perfectly alright? Aniruddha, who grants the desires of his worshippers like you, and whom the scriptures have declared as the source of the Vedas and the deity presiding over the mind, Manas, which constitutes the fourth part of the inner sense, which is a composite of four elements which Chit, Ahankar, Buddhi, and Manas. And are other people such as Hridik, a Yadav chief, the sons of Satyabhama, Karudeshan, Pradyumna's real brother, and Gada as brother of Sri Krishna, faring well? O gentle Uddhav, people who are exclusively and fully devoted to Sri Krishna, the Lord of their heart. Does King Yudhishthir, who is virtue personified, protect the law according to the principles of righteousness with the help of his two arms? Vijay Arjun and Achyut Lord Sri Krishna Yudhishthir, at the side of whose imperial fortune and attendant glory in the court built by Maya, the architect of the demons, Duryodhan, burned with jealousy? Has Bhim, who is most relentless like a serpent, given up his long standing grudge against those who wronged him? Viz. The Kauravas, Bhim, whose tread the earth could not bear as he moved about on the battlefield, revolving his mace in a variety of ways while actually engaged in a fight. Is Arjun, the wielder of the Gandiv bow, the most renowned of leading chariot warriors, now at peace with his enemies, having subdued or destroyed them all? Arjun, who won the pleasure of Lord Shiva, disguised as a Kirat hunter beyond all recognition by hiding him with a volley of his arrows? Do the twin brothers Nakul and Sahadev, the foster sons of Pritha, who enjoy the protection of their half brothers, the sons of Pritha, even as the eyeballs are protected by the eye ashes, rejoice after recovering their ancestral share from the enemy's hands through the arbitrament of war, as though a pair of Garuds had snatched nectar from the mouth of Indra, the wielder of a thunderbolt. O Pritha, my sister-in-law, is surviving merely for the sake of her children, though bereaved of Pandu, that foremost of royal sages, who, a matchless hero and foremost core warrior that he had conquered all the four quarters with no other companion than his bow? I feel concerned, O gentle Uddhav, for that brother of mine, Dhritarashtra, who is paving his way for hell, inasmuch as he wronged his own deceased half-brother Pandu in the person of his sons, the Pandavas, and who banished me, his well-wisher, from his capital Hastinapur, having yielded completely to the will of his sons. I am, however, not the least surprised or sorry for his behavior towards me, for it is Sri Hari, Sri Krishna, the supreme ruler of this universe, who bewilders the intellect of men by following the ways of mortals. I am therefore moving about in this world unperceived by others, observing His glory by His grace. The Lord overlooked for the time being the wrongdoings of the Kauravas, though capable of punishing them then and there, for he sought to relieve the distress of those who had taken shelter in him by exterminating with them other monarchs too, who in their threefold pride of birth, wealth, and learning had strayed from the path of virtue and shook the earth with their homage again and again. The birth and doings of the Lord, who is really birthless and actionless, are only for the extirpation of the wrongdoers as well as for attracting people towards Himself. Otherwise, to say nothing of the Lord, what man that has transcended the three gunas, modes of Prakriti, would tie himself down to a corporeal body or pursue an elaborate course of activity. Therefore, O friend, tell me the news about the Lord of sacred renown, who, though devoid of birth, has descended in the race of Yadu for the good of all the guardians of the different spheres, who sought refuge in him, as well of such other devotees as are ever at his beck and call. Thus ends the first discourse in Book 3, consisting of a dialogue between Vidur and Uddhava of the great and glorious Bhagavad Puran, otherwise known as the Paramhans Sanhita. यदक्षरपदभ्रष्टं मात्राहीनं चेद्भवेत् तत्सर्वं क्षम्यतां देव प्रसीद परमेश्वर. Thanks a lot for watching the video. Jai Hind, Jai Jagat.